Hey guys, True Knight here. So, welcome back to the channel. It is May 29th, and I wanted to do something that's way too crazy early like I always do before we get Banlist. I always come in like a couple months before and just give a crazy intake and thought process. So, first and foremost, a little bit of house cleaning. I really appreciate the viewership I've been getting with the meta tier list, guys. Like, it really goes a long way for the channel. I'm at 299 subscribers. So whoever wants to be the brave person to give me a 300, rock on. And when I hit 300, I thank you all very much. It's crazy to even think of 300 was a goal. But anyway, let's get into my take on the August, most likely, as you guys can see in the thumbnail, August 2025 Banlist that'll be coming. If I'm not mistaken, that'll be right around World's time, and we will have the new set with, is it Justice Hunters with K9 and Draco Tail and Yummies, and the Vanquish Soul support will already be here, so like all that's gonna be here. So, which reminds me, I need to put in another picture. Do I have one? There's one, and don't think I have one in there, but I have one here. So let me just add it here. Okay. So my thought process is simple. I'm not really, as of this moment in May, again, way too early to tell. I'm not really seeing anything that needs to be taken out. I'm seeing things that could be like less consistent, things that are pissing people off, and I'm more so seeing things that I want to come back. Reason being for that. Come August, Vanquish Soul K9 is going to be the end-all be-all. It's the tier 0 deck in the OCG. Not much different in formats here. So they have all the same access to the extra deck and everything that we do. I don't know why it wouldn't be a tier 0 deck here. So with that being said, what does Konami need to hit now, or when that deck comes out? And the answer is we don't know. So what do you maybe do for a format? Maybe you bring old stuff back to throw old stuff at Vanquish Soul, especially for the budget players. Like, I think a core right now for Vanquish Soul is damn near $300. That's before you even touch the K9 cards. Like, that's ludicrous, right? I just sold a core on eBay for $300. Yeah, it had 3 of everything, but like, damn. That dude just spent $300 and hasn't even touched the K9 stuff or the new Vanquish Soul support. So you're probably on that deck, you might be in for almost $1,000. Given stables as well, if you're playing Charmies or anything of that nature. So that deck is going to kind of be paywalled into budget players. So what do you do to help with that? In my opinion, you bring stuff off the list so that people who can't afford that $1,000 price tag have a chance for a format, and then you address the elephant in the room, which is K9 Vanquish Soul. So let's get right into it, because I have a few questions on the ban list as well of what they may or may not do. First thing, what do I want to see as far as coming back? I want to see something here Am I missing anything? Nope. I want to see something here come back. It could be a combination of two things. It could be just one. But my personal wants is one of these cards to come back to one. I think it would be totally fun. I think it would change up the game. I think it would bring people out the woodwork. We're coming off of I made a video earlier in the week, like the dog days of summer, where people have lost a lot of interest. Like my own, I don't know about you guys, but in Colorado, the Yu-Gi chat is kind of quiet. Like nobody's really talking about anything. So, how do you spark that? How do you spark that interest back? Yeah, you bring out new sets and new cards and all that stuff, but for the people that want to come back to the game and then all of a sudden see that the deck costs $1,000, maybe you bring back something old to let them bring their old cards out against it. You know? So, if it were me personally, my two biggest wants is I would want to see these two come back. That would just make my day. Like, being able to play Fire King Snake Eye and being able to play Baron in my Sword Soul deck would make my summer, you know? You guys gotta hear me out and listen to this. This August Banlist is lining us up for the winter months, when Konami usually goes quiet. They don't really put too much into the game. So, I mean, why not give players a format to screw around with these two cards, or even one of these 6 cards, and just make sure the game doesn't get too crazy out of hand. You know what I mean? What do I think is least likely to happen? I think least likely we would see these guys, just because they don't want to bring this back, and I don't think they want to bring this back with detonators still in the game. So, personal wants, again, one of the or two of these cards to come back to one. That's what I really want. Now, another question I have. We have been calling these 3 cards the, like, Trinity right now. That's what we call it, I think, the Trinity. I play these 3 because they're all at 1, and they're just too strong not to play. Cool. Does Konami want to keep that in the game? Or do they just want to be rid of it? So, my first prediction is one, if not maybe all 3 of these, just goes ahead and gets the banhammer. And while I'm still on this subject, another card that may just be cleaned up for housekeeping purposes is they may just do that. Now, if you're fast forwarding this video and you stop here to see this and you're not listening to my explanation or anything like that, that's on you. But again, to reiterate, does Konami consider these 4 cards just too much a luck sack after they've limited all of them? In my opinion, I am not offended by these 3, but I haven't been caught with it yet, but if somebody somebody drops the one of on me, I'm gonna be pretty salty. So, which I'm sure it's happened. So, that's where I leave that there. My next thing, again, coming off of bringing people out of the woodwork, I think personally, either this or Singing Common could come back to 2. It could either be this or it could be Kaiman. It would be totally fine. Right now, the strongest version I know of Tenpai is Dragon Rulers, and the players even tell you don't need more than 1. So, if somebody wants to come out the woodwork, come back to the game, and they want to be able to have 2 of these now instead of 1, maybe that would entice them to come back a little more. That's my thought process there. The next question I have in the room, do the Charmies need a hit? There's fucking 9 of them. It's a mini game now. Do you have the Droll? Do you have the Ash? Or do you have Charmies? Like, I feel like it's promoted such toxic environmental gameplay that, like, I don't know, man, that could be like the the crazy ban list that we see in August is just all of a sudden every Charmy's at 1. You go from 9 to 3. Or like, damn, what if they just off one of them? Like Meows, you're just banned. Like, and that's kind of our warning sign to the player base, like what they did to SP Little Knight in the OCG, like, hey, we're watching you. You know? Pretty crazy thought process, right? Next up. Does White Forest need a hit? Oh, here, let me finish up my Charmy. I'm gonna go ahead and throw it out there. Wild take, but I'm here for it, is one of the Charmies get banned. Wild take. Wild, completely out of left field take. One of the Charmies is getting hit in August. Crazy, I know. Next up, White Forest. Does White Forest need to get hit? This deck hasn't won anything huge, like YCS or anything like that. It wins tons of regionals. It reminds me of Malice. It was that deck that everybody had high hopes for, but it just can't finish the job. However, the pure extension that the deck has, like, you could hand trap that deck to death and it just eats them. Reminds me of Kashtira. Does it warrant some kind of semi-limit or hit? I don't think so. But players have been talking about it recently that they think it does need a hit on the wrist. I don't know where or what to do with it, so I'm going to go ahead and say no. But it is a conversation that I am seeing a lot of. Now, my next thing. When I first got Ryzel, I wasn't interested in playing it. I actually bought all the stuff from Malice first, because I love Alice in Wonderland lore, and I thought, that's probably the deck I'll play. Turns out that I could not care less for this deck, but I love this deck. Reason being is, I love Satellar Knight. I love Satellar because it was a great protected castle box that had utility, and it did a simplistic thing that I could nuance almost every week if I wanted to, and put different engines into it and mess around with. And this has become Stellar Knight 2.0 in my opinion. It is what I want Stellar Knight to always evolve into. So I don't want to see this deck get hit anymore. I don't think it should. I think it's totally fine with the consistency hits. However, please, for the love of God, Konami, please just give me 2. I know y'all are gonna laugh at me and say you're crazy, that card deserves to be 1, a lot of people think it should be banned, yada yada yada. You ban this card and my deck is dead, and I love this deck. I have a fucking love for this deck that you guys would not believe, and to see it go after 8 months would kind of suck, because I think with K9, Draco Tail, Yummies, all that shit coming out, Ryzel is gonna file down to a tier 2 status anyway. Like, please just let me keep my boss monster. You already took away my favorite boss monster of all time. Please let me keep this one. That's my ask. Okay. Malice. Malice did not live up to the hype, did it? It choked. It hard choked under pressure. It is not at all a deck that I'm even scared of. There, you got Chaos Hunter, you got Lancias, you got all your hand traps, especially in the version of Ryzel that I play. I play pure Ryzel, and I love going against Malice because I just screw with my opponent every game. I don't think it's that scary of a deck, so I don't think it needs to get hit. It is annoying. I'm sick of seeing it, but I'm sure people are also sick of seeing Ryzel. So I don't think anything should be hit at all in Malice. Personal opinion. Truosworm, the Bestials. Nobody's talked about him since this got limited, but I feel like there's going to come a day where it just comes up. And I ultimately think the best thing to do now, while nobody's even talking about it, is just off this dude. Just off it and let Magnamoot be a searcher for dragons. But get rid of this guy and his interaction, because this is the guy that's kind of like being the thorn and becomes the big topic of conversation if the bestials ever come up. So that's my opinion. The Fiendsmith engine, it's getting the adventure treatment. And what I mean by that is that nobody cares. Like, it's just falling by the wayside. We all thought it was crazy and broken and yada yada yada, which it was for a format, but now I think we see it in like 10 to 15% of top cuts, if that. Like, that's it. So, okay. Let's get to my two biggest conversations of this next ban list. My biggest take is, I think Mitsurugi is about to get a hit. The deck has proven to just be crazy, and it's so powerful that, like, how do you stop it in the TCG? Because the OCG hasn't even been able to play with it, but it's like it's winning everything. it literally is the new Ryzel Fiendsmith. But I feel like even post a ban list, if they don't touch it, this thing is just going to continue to be strong. So I think Mitsurugi in some fashion needs to take a hit. Just needs to. And then, my big question of the ban list, as of right now, May 29th, 2025. Do Konami preemptively hit Vanquish Soul now in some fashion before K9 comes out? Does Konami collect the data that they've seen in the OCG, compare it to what we have in the TCG, and say, okay, we need to hit this now, or we're in for another Tearlament Ashizu format, where there is one deck, and then everything else is 2 levels below it? That's the big question on my brain, and I'm sure it's the big question in Konami's brain. Because all of these other hits don't really compare to what if they hit something on these two strategies. So, just a little food for thought for tonight. My idea of where the ban list is. I'll probably do another one of these with a more detailed, like, what I think is going to get hit and what's not going to get hit, probably towards the end of June. So, be on the lookout for that. But again, I appreciate all the viewership lately. I'm going to keep doing the meta tier list every week. Seems to be something that you guys are enjoying and having fun with, so I'm going to keep on doing it with more and more decks and more talks. But yeah, be kind, be respectful, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.